If you've been diagnosed with cancer or you've got a loved one who's been diagnosed with cancer, we're learning effective ways to deal with the emotional side of the disease from the author of this book that you're seeing right here. It's called Emotional Wellness.
Now, San Antonio Living with Shelley, Leslie, Alana, Cleto, and Michael.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to San Antonio Living. I'm Shelley Miles, Michael Garofalo here, and Leslie Bohl.
Hello. All right, coming up, whether you've just been diagnosed, maybe you're a survivor, or you have a loved one with cancer, we're going to show you the most effective ways to cope with the emotional burden that comes along with the medical treatment. That's next. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. When you hear the diagnosis, you have cancer, it can be really a scary time, whether it be for yourself, a loved one, or a friend. And part of the treatment and the success in the treatment is treating the emotional side, and that's exactly what we're doing today. We have invited Dr. Niki Barr, who is a Houston-based psychotherapist, who is also the author of Emotional Wellness, the other half of treating cancer. She's here to give us tips. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know yesterday I was speaking with someone who was so proud that she was a 10-year survivor of breast cancer, and you have those who are inspired by what they've been through, and then others who are terrified maybe by a new diagnosis. And how does the emotional side play into the success of treatment?
The emotional side is huge, and the reason why it's huge is because we have feelings and we go through all kinds of roller coaster feelings when you have a diagnosis. You have the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So there's specific things you can do to get through those emotions and to help yourself within the diagnosis.
All right, let's start with patients. Say you have been diagnosed with cancer. What are the things that you need to do to emotionally be able to cope?
Okay, I would say that the first thing you want to do is to give yourself time. Typically, when you get a cancer diagnosis, things happen very quick. The doctor wants to tell you that, and then you've got treatment to take care of. And so you want to give yourself time to deal with the whole cancer diagnosis before you even think about treatment options. So if you can take a day, a week, hours, whatever you can do to give yourself some time just to get yourself around that whole idea. And then you want to give yourself time to think about treatment options too.
Okay, so allow yourself that time to essentially sleep on it, let it breathe for a little while, exactly, and put the emotions in check, and then you'll be able to smartly decide what is right for you. Exactly. What are some of the things that family members or friends can do to help someone who's been diagnosed or who is being treated for cancer?
You know, you want to listen. All the things that I hear over and over is that cancer patients, just like all of us, want to be listened to, and it's real easy to turn off the TV and listen, but if you've got a million things going on in your mind, like, oh my gosh, this poor person, or what's going to happen, what is going to happen to us, how are we going to get through this, instead of listening, it's not going to have the same effect. You've got to shut down your emotions and listen to the one you love and hear what's going on with them.
And sometimes when you're the loved one watching a friend or a family member going through it, it can be terrifying. So how do you keep that in check so you don't impact the one who is dealing with the illness?
You want to completely put your focus on that person and just really listen. Just put all of your listening skills into motion and hear what they have to say.
And what are, let's say, I know there are many, but let's go through the top 3 things that get in the way of emotional wellness for someone who's dealing with cancer.
Well, overwhelm is huge. That's the first thing that sets in when you hear that you have a cancer diagnosis. So you wonder what's going to happen now. Life was pretty predictable before cancer. You got up in the morning, you drank your coffee, tea, whatever you did, and then you took the kids or you worked or whatever you do. You have lunch, you have dinner, you go to bed. But when you have a cancer diagnosis, now you've got scans, you've got chemotherapy, you've got radiation, you've got surgery, you've got pharmacy, you've got so much going on trying to figure out how to do everything in addition to your other stuff. So it's tough. It's very tough. So the overwhelm, my book has specific tools to deal with how to get through this stuff. And it's very simple, easy things you can just do, little tricks that you can do to get through it.
And could you give us just an example of one thing that someone could do?
Sure. One thing is the what ifs. It's real easy for all of us to get into what if this, what if that, what if this, that. And what happens is you can't win that. And so you can get yourself stirred up really, really quickly, and you don't want to stay in that stir-up. So learning how to stop the what ifs.
And I would assume that staying positive, even though that can be extremely difficult, that can be powerful.
Yes, and there's so many tools that you can use, and the tools actually help you, because when you feel better within yourself, then that increases the positivity going on as well.
Thank you so much for coming in today. We do want to let everyone know how they can learn more about whether you're going through cancer treatment yourself or you have a loved one and you want to be there for that person. Here's a website. It's canceremotionalwellbeing.com. Please check that out. Again, we've been speaking with Dr. Niki Barr, and her book is called Emotional Wellness, the Other Half of Treating Cancer. Again, thank you for coming by. Shelley?